way I became aware of Muscle Shoals music was kind of by accident. You know, growing up in Daytona, that's where Greg and Dwayne Allman were from. And so they were kind of peers of mine. They were a few years older than me, but Greg had come to town to do a concert, and he had just recorded his solo album. And he said, you know, it's possible you could be in my band when I go out and tour for this record. So I said, that'd be cool. So I moved to Macon, had a wife and a young daughter, and I stayed there for 2 months, and Greg was not in a hurry to get on, do road work on his record. And so Pete Carr, who was another friend from Daytona Beach, who had played in Dwayne and Greg's band before the Allman Brothers. It was a band called the Hourglass. I don't know for a fact, but I believe that Dwayne had some influence on Pete moving to Muscle Shoals. And by the time I called Pete from Macon, Pete was already well established here as a session player. I said, Pete, do you think there's anything for me up there? And he said, yeah, I think you could do really great up here. And it was about a year before I got my first job as a session player. And it was at Broadway Studios, and Peanut Montgomery, one of the early writers here, gave me my first job on a demo session. Myself and several other guys were kind of the second generation of players to come up. People like Randy McCormick and then artists like Mac McAnally. Mac moved here a few years after I did. Muscle Shoals Sound for a short time had a Studio B on 2nd Street, East 2nd Street in Sheffield. And so we were all kind of hanging out in the studio, and we were sort of the proteges to the big guys, you know, to David and to Roger. And so we would do demos that they didn't have time to do. We would play on the demos. And eventually I became a staff writer when they moved into the new studio, and an artist on the label with Lee Von Helm and Russell Smith and Delbert McClinton. We were the 4 artists on the MSS Capitol label. So those were really fun times.